Welcome to the Best You podcast, where we explore the journey of inner peace, harmony, and joy that comes from living authentically. Every week, we will dive into transformative conversations that describe both the way you can create behavioral change for yourself and how to create the conditions that promote peace, harmony, and joy around you. Whether you're seeking balance, deeper relationships, or a spark of inspiration, you're in the right place.
All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of Your Best You. We are excited to continue on our series of peace, harmony, and joy conversations. Again, we believe that in this paradise that we call Earth, we can have a lot of joy every day, and really most of the day if we get really good at this. And we're trying to help you understand, appreciate our approach to it, and have you learn how to have it as much as we believe you should. And, the first conversations were really about peace, harmony, and joy within. And we talked about, if you can stay calm, and we have all these techniques to stay relaxed and peaceful. There's all these different ways you can have that in your life. And it's fundamental to this whole, that is where it all starts, is the foundation. Because if your head's spinning, if you're filled with anxiety, or if you feel like you're just trying to survive, it's going to be really hard to have joy. So we have a lot of techniques that we have developed to have you have peace in your life. And once you have peace, it's not as simple as, all right, I'm gonna have joy. You got that bridge we call harmony. It's being your authentic and living your best life. You're being true to yourself. And so we talked about how to figure out and identify your talents and your gifts and your passions, your interests, and then how to go for it, how to do it in a thoughtful way, but truly live your life in a way that you're excited to jump out of bed every morning. You're just curious and just energized about what the day has in store for you. And then being in the moment. That's fundamental. If you're calm and you're living your best life, if you're not in the moment, if you're thinking about what happened in the past or what's going to happen, if you're worried all the time, or you have these beliefs and habits, it's going to make it really hard to have consistent joy. But we believe you can have it. And we talked about it in the last several episodes. And hopefully you're utilizing what we've shared and you're feeling it, feeling joy consistently in your lives. Now, the next step is, hey, we're happy for you. We truly believe is an amazing goal for us each to feel joy much of the day, every day. The next step is, can we feel it with others? And what's interesting is when we get really good at having peace, harmony, and joy within ourselves, we are now positioned to truly impact relationships with people close to us, family members, work colleagues, sports teammates, the list goes on. And I will tell you, I think there's lots of people that are wanting these types of relationships, these joyful experiences with people close to them, and wondering, like, how, or is it even possible? And so today we're going to share how you can have peace, harmony, and joy with others close to you. And before we get into it, I want to hand it over to Sanna. Your thoughts on this? I know it's an important topic to you.
I just feel, Scott, you're such a gift to the world to share your wisdom with everybody and bring this message to everybody in a way that feels approachable and accessible and doable. And I absolutely agree with how you laid it out. It's really important, really beautiful. And it's sort of the whole point of it, because we're very social creatures. People live in groups and communities, and it's great if you're good, but you can only be so good if things around you are not. However, being good within you is the first step. Everybody around you being good too. So this is really important. And again, what we talked about before, like the locus of control, the thing that you can control is you can change your mind, you can change your focus and your perspective. You can change your beliefs and make different choices. Those are the things that we have any control over. And when we approach that from a place of peace and clarity, then we can reclaim our power. And then we can create that peace, harmony, and joy with others. So it's a beautiful opportunity. Nobody has to continue to blame the world for their unhappiness. It's all within us.
Well said, Sanna. And I want to reinforce, we can't control all these things that go on around the world, whether it's politics or the economy or social media or people in our circle, our family members, our work colleagues. We can't control them, but we can control ourselves. And that's the most amazing thing. It's the beautiful thing. I mean, we truly have this awesome power inside ourselves. We want you to be aware of it, and we want to help you use it. So the question really is, you're feeling great. You're feeling peace, harmony, and joy. You can't wait to experience life. And yet you've got people in your life. And how do they make you feel? Are you feeling joy with them? You should. I will tell you, a lot of people have examples of family members or work colleagues that they don't get along with or they don't jive with. They've got different perspectives on things. Maybe they voted for a different politician or they've got certain views on certain topics. Maybe they are their personalities. Maybe they're long winded. Maybe they're short tempered. And there's all these things. And the question is, can you have joyful experiences with all of them, all these different types of people? We believe you can, because it's all in how you experience and perceive the relationship. And what's interesting is you actually have the ability to change their experience too by how you basically share the joy. So again, peace, harmony, joy, it really is a three-step process to get to joy with others. And we're gonna spend just a little time on the first one because it's kind of basic, but yet it may be hard until you are aware that you have this ability and you can do it and you make it a habit. But you got to have peace with the people you want to have joy with. And peace, there is between peace with a person is fighting or getting upset with them. You do not have to ever have another bad conversation with anybody in your life. Now, they may say bad things to you. They may yell at you. They may do things that can start a fight. But guess what? It takes two to have a fight. And you don't have to enjoy what they're saying. You don't have to thank them for what they're saying. And you don't have to get walked over. But the thing about it is, you do not have to say something mean back. You do not have to be the winner of conversation. The goal here is to have joy in your life. Just realize you do not have to ever have another fight again with anybody because it takes two to have a fight. Sanna, your thoughts on this topic? Peace with others.
Yeah, absolutely true. When you think about it, when we argue with people, we're looking to be right a lot of times. And why? Sometimes you do have to make decisions together. So this is where a negotiation might need to happen. But in the end, you may just have to accept that you may never change their mind and you'll have to find some way to make a decision. But in the end, I have learned that when I get upset and defensive and the need to be right, the whole thing just goes spiraling downhill. That just hardly ever leads to a good outcome. Or if it does, and I'm upset and I get my way, I feel yucky about it because I wasn't bringing my best self to that interaction. So what Scott's saying is absolutely true, is being peaceful. And I have actually found that when I get out of my ego, needing to be right, needing to be defensive, if I don't take it personally and I just listen to the person, and I'm not saying I would agree necessarily, but just help them feel heard, help them feel seen and heard. And actually, the science shows that if you do that with people, they're going to feel better. And when they feel better, they're more likely to be cooperative. Their cognitive function will improve. So when we're having positive emotion, our cognition improves. And so if we can keep the emotion on the positive side, we're going to all just perform better. And I hate to use the word always, but I catch myself complaining about somebody and sort of mid sentence, I go, oh, I'm complaining about somebody. But I just let myself finish the sentence or the thought. And then I realize that it's projection, or it very well might be projection. So, you know what they say, like when you're pointing the finger at somebody, you have three fingers pointing at yourself. And I take this very seriously. So if I just go, oh, there Scott goes spouting off again, such a know it all, it's like, oh, I can be such a know it all. I hate that about myself, and now I'm taking responsibility for my feelings and I'm really about Scott. It's about me and the part of me that I dislike. It's called projection. So the other good news is that if Scott's complaining about me, about how I talk too much, then that might be Scott's projection as well. So I don't have to take it personally if somebody's complaining about me. So here's the downside. If they're saying nice things about me, that's probably projection as well. So I don't have to let that go to my head either. I find that this is very humbling practice and for me, very effective.
Those are great examples. And I think you also set us up for the harmony piece. But before we go to the harmony with others, I want everybody to appreciate again, you never have to say a mean thing ever again to anybody. You don't have to agree, but you don't have to think that you have to win the fight or put them in their place. And again, if you can just get that in your head that you're just going to keep peace with people in your life, you'll be amazed how it positions you for harmonious conversations, because this is the really the meat of it. Peace, harmony, joy within. Harmony was the bridge from peace to joy. I mean, harmony is the bridge with others from peace to joy too, because there's gonna be a ton of things that you don't agree with others, what they say, what they do, or how they say it. The question is, can you have a perspective that is curious, that tries to understand, that respects that everybody on this planet is unique and different. Every single person. I mean, we're born, we physically we look different, but if you really looked into us, I mean, we have different experiences, we have different interests, different talents, we have different friends, different things we watch. I mean, there's just different things that fill our minds. And so, that's why we don't always agree on everything. But the thing about it is the differences are what make life beautiful. Think about if this planet, if every single plant looked the same. Think about if every person looked the same. I mean, think about if there was an orchestra and everybody played the same instrument, like how bad the music would be. If a basketball team, if everybody's only the shooter, but no one wants to rebound or pass, I mean, how bad would the basketball team be? I mean, what makes life wonderful is the differences. If a salad had all the same exact ingredients, like that's not very tasty. So we encourage you to appreciate the uniqueness in everybody and take the time to be curious, try to understand people's different perspectives. Again, someone may say something mean, they may say it in a mean way, they may say something you don't agree with. Stay calm, stay peaceful, try to listen to them and understand them. And we've got some tricks in our book, Less Stress, More Joy, that we share. Before we talk of them, Sanna, what's your thoughts as we get to this place of appreciating the uniqueness and the differences in each person on this planet?
Yeah, I love the examples you gave, and I'll just use another because if you take any one particular idea or event, if you ask 100 people, you'll probably get 98 different perspectives. And so if you're certain about your own, then what we're saying is that you're setting yourself up to fight with 98 other people or 99 other people. And does that really make any sense? To do that suggests that we have to be so certain of our one perspective that everybody else in the world is wrong. When, as we talked about last time, there's probably a grain of truth in everybody's perspective and a grain of falseness. So if you look for the grain of truth in others' perspective and you look for the grain of falseness in your own, I think that's a much more open place where we can learn, become wiser. So we've talked about the difference between wisdom and being smart. So I might have spent a lot of time coming to that conclusion. That might make me really smart, but I may not have considered everything that's relevant to that conclusion. And I'm sure I didn't, because who can be wise and listen to everybody's perspective?
Yeah. And it's interesting. I think so many people come to a conversation thinking that they're right. I think our ego, or you can just tell our survival skills or whatever it is. But I think we like to believe that we understand how the world works and that we know most of the right answers to our lives and the things around us. But I think what's really interesting is when we come to a conversation with the intent of growing and learning, and when someone has a different opinion, different perspective, being curious and trying to understand it, I think you'd be amazed how many times that you'll learn something new. You may or may not agree with it. You may or may not change your perspective, but you're going to learn that there are different ways that people think, and you understand the reasons. But even more importantly, I think you're going to strengthen the relationship because you're going to make that person feel heard. You're going to make them feel a part of this conversation. And again, I think that's what we're talking about, is having joyful relationships, not relationships where we're always the winner. And in fact, relationships are not about winners and losers. Relationships are about everybody feeling good. And again, when they do, you position in everybody in that relationship to have a joyful experience. So The couple other examples I want to give are kind of building on what Sana was saying. If there's 100 people, 99 people saying different things, I will tell you, I'm in meetings, I'm a leader of an organization, and I'll have 10 people in there, and they'll all hear 10 different things. It's amazing to me because they're all different. They all come at it with their unique experiences and their lens and the things that they're looking for in what I say. And I'm always just in shock how after the conversation, like I feel like I was in 10 different meetings, but there was one conversation that I was talking and there were 10 people that were listening. Another thing I want to throw out is innovation. It's been proven if you want to have breakthrough innovations, if you keep having the same group of people working on the same things, almost guaranteed not to get the breakthroughs. You need diverse perspectives. And it's just over and over again. If you look at some of the most amazing innovations, it's because people from different places, different parts of a company or different groups of people have come together. It's just magical. And so just encourage you to appreciate different perspectives and just realize that they're valuable. And especially when you want to have good relationships and ultimately joyful relationships with people. Sana, anything you want to add on that one?
Yeah, really, really great perspectives, Scott. I guess the thing that came to mind was sometimes we can rub people the wrong way without realizing it. I know I'm guilty of that. Maybe everybody is. I feel like, again, that humility and that curiosity can be really important because, I believe that almost everybody comes into relationships with the best of intentions. And we can get defensive because we might say, oh, I have good intentions, but then we might criticize other people for not actually acting on them correctly, which is, I think, a double standard, right? Assuming that everybody has the best intention, that what they do and say makes sense to them and they're a reasonable person, like give them the benefit of the doubt of being a reasonable person. And to also be open to how you might be contributing to an uncomfortable or conflictual dynamic without realizing it. And even ask questions about that, if you feel comfortable. Like, I notice when I talk, Scott, you start looking around the room. Am I saying something to make you uncomfortable? Which might, granted, might make it worse, but to notice how people are responding to you without getting angry, just be curious.
Yeah, those are great tips. And I want to throw in a couple other tips. One of the things that we hear is I've got people in my life who they always are saying the same things over and over again. And no matter what, they just drone on or they don't get it. We've got a little tip, a little trick that we found that can change that. And it's called listening from not knowing. And this is something that Diane and Alec Collins with Quantum Think teach. Listen from not knowing is about treating each conversation like the first time you talk to that person. What's interesting, if you think about your lives, whenever you meet someone the first time, think about how curious you are and how intent you are on what they're saying. And conversation goes in all these different directions. And we encourage you to try that with people who you have close relationships with. I know I have, and it's been magical. What's interesting is I think out of habit or busyness or whatever you want to call it, some people in our lives, we kind of get in these patterns and sometimes they say something, we say something, we don't even really pay attention. And it's like just try to get the conversation done. Or someone's saying something, we are paying attention, but we know exactly what they're saying. It's like, how dare them? Like, gosh, I don't want to hear this again. What's interesting is if you treat it like it's the first time you ever talk to them, you'll be amazed and be curious about what they're saying. If you really truly treat it like it's the first time, you will go down different paths and you will actually learn more about what they are saying and you will take the conversation in new directions. You will strengthen the relationship. And I will just tell you, it's something that I learned about a decade ago, and I've tried it, I've used it so many times, but I remember about a decade ago when I learned this, I did it with a number of my family members. I was just curious would it work? What would happen? And again, it was magical. And I'll never forget, I did it with my wife. And after I did it like 3 different times, she was like, what's going on here? Something's different. First off, she started having saying some different things to me without even knowing what I was doing. But she could feel like just the energy and the fun of the conversation. And so it was just, again, because I was literally treating every conversation. She goes and to the gym several times a week, and I could, how was your workout? Nice. But I started asking, like, what equipment did she use? Did she meet anybody? It just, all these different paths we went down. So encourage you to do that. The other tip I'll give you is this concept called being in one conversation. So many times when we're in a conversation, we think we're listening and we may hear the words, but we're actually thinking about what we're going to say. In fact, we may either is it the first word of our mouth. We already may have the answer because we're just, and then we got to remember what we're going to say while they're talking. The question is, can you truly listen to them and hear them and make them feel heard? And then when they're done, take a moment to thoughtfully think about your response. And I will just simply say, again, position yourself for joyful relations, to have harmonious conversations. It's so powerful to truly be in the conversation as opposed to them talking and you get what you're going to say at the same time. Sana, thoughts?
Oh, those are beautiful. I had a little aha moment there when you were talking about the first example, because I was wondering if that would be true, if they would quit saying the same things over and over again. And so it must be that they haven't felt heard prior to then. They hadn't felt heard. They're both very related, like just give them your undivided attention. Yeah. And with openness every time. Beautiful.
And I love what you said about being heard, and I did say that a little bit with the second tip. It's amazing how in a relationship, when people don't feel like they're heard, it is so hard to have a really strong, joyful relationship. But when you just take the time to truly understand what they're saying and even repeat it like in your own words, I mean, people feel so valued.
There's a technique called active empathic listening that you paraphrase or you sort of sum up what they said without reciting it, but sort of giving a bottom line, not only the content, but the emotion. Because if you can convey that you've heard them on both sides, they're more likely to feel heard. And I have also found when you treat every conversation as if it's brand new, is once they feel fully heard, that they then tend to be more likely to be able to listen to you or to listen to others. You find that?
Gigantic. Oh yeah, it's a game changer. It's because they're no longer having to fight, with words. They're no longer, having to prove themselves. Now they're able to just enjoy the conversation with you, and it's so powerful. So I strongly encourage everybody, to think about how you can make people in your life, especially people close to you, feel heard. You'll be amazed how it will strengthen a relationship and it'll position yourself for all these joyful conversations and experiences.
Yeah. And now you're having a dialogue. You're communicating both ways. Like, that's beautiful. And by the way, the foundation has not one, but two courses on listening. Quality listening is so important to me. It's when what we're taught is advocacy and influential speaking and communication. Rarely are we taught to listen. And that is 50% of communication. So important.
And by the way, another important thing with communication is how you communicate. So many people with all our technology love to communicate via text or email. Guess what? If it's possibly a negative thing, that is a gigantic way to blow up a relationship. It's a terrible way to truly communicate.
Especially if you're having a fight.
Especially if you're having a fight. It's amazing how many people fight with text and email. Phone is a better way than written communication, but even phone is not the best way. The best way is face to face, because you cannot just hear the words or see the words, but you can see the facial expressions and you can truly connect with people at a much deeper level. And by the way, in person is the best. Virtuals with all our technology these days, pretty darn good, but face to face is so powerful. And here's a little tip too. Smiling can actually have a gigantic impact on the conversation. If people are seeing your no facial expression or frowny, I mean, they're going to take that one way. If you smile, and I mean, it just has a whole nother impact. It's amazing how our facial expressions can actually have a gigantic impact on the relationship and the experience.
Well, plus it can relax you more if you're smiling, if you're coming in with that attitude.
Genuine smiles. So
Yeah.
we're going to need to wrap here. Again, no fight. Never have to fight again. Fights take two people. If someone says something mean to you, don't have to fight back. Don't have to say something mean back. Peace is the foundation to great relationships and joyful experiences. Harmony with people, truly appreciate different perspectives, different opinions. All these wonderful people in your life, different people are there for a reason. You can make beautiful music with them. And by the way, joy, which we talked about in the last episode, joy when you're in a relationship, be in the moment. Don't be worried about what happened or what they said in the past or what may happen in the future. Just be in the moment with these people. You'll be amazed how powerful, how energizing, how wonderful your experiences will be with them.
Thank you so much, Scott.
Hey, we wish you the best. Look forward to hearing about your relationships and your experiences. Have a good one. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Best You podcast. We hope today's conversation sparked some new ways for you to cultivate your inner peace, connect meaningfully with others, and embrace the joy of living in harmony. Remember, being the best version of yourself isn't a destination. It's a daily practice of growth, reflection, and kindness to yourself and those around you. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd love it for you to subscribe, share it with somebody who'd benefit, and leave a review to help us spread the message of peace and joy. Stay connected, stay inspired, and we'll see you next time on The Best You.